Hello Capricorn, this is Victoria and I'm here with your October tarot forecast. As always, we'll be looking at your love life, at your career and workspace, and at the end I'll pull some guidance on how to best utilize the energies of the month of October. At the end, we'll pull some messages from your personal interest to yourself, so make sure you stick around for that. And of course, a reminder that these readings are for Sun, Moon, and Rising Capricorn, so if you're watching for your Sun sign, please check out videos for the other placements as well. We are fast approaching the full moon. It's gonna be a super moon, a harvest moon, and I'm gonna be giving you so much more information on what it means, what it's all about. It's in the sign of Aries, so it's the opposite of where we are right now when we are in the Libra season. And yeah, I'll be speaking more about the degrees, the impact, the possible rituals, and of course we'll pull some cards with guidance for each of the zodiac signs. So if you're new, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any reading. But at the moment we'll focus on the month of October for you, Capricorn, and we will begin with an oracle deck card. This is the Angels and Ancestors deck, one of my favorites, so let's get started. A disclaimer, I have a dog next to me, so if you hear some noise, if you see the dog, don't be surprised, he's around. Alright, and of course, if you're new, also check out the description box with the different information on my content and my services. Alright, with all that said, Capricorn, your card is the Hermit, retreat and recharge, very much a Virgo energy. Right, but it's another earth sign, so you're kind of the relatives, you're in that one family where, and speaking of which, because you're an earth sign, for you it may be very important to actually go into nature and connect with nature to retreat and recharge, because the earth is the power that helps you heal and helps you rejuvenate your force. It helps everyone, no doubt about that. But we can use any of the four elements for that. But because you're an earth sign, earth, forest, could even be the beach, the sand also counts, gardening, even working with indoor plants, connection to your animals, to your pets, that could all be an important part of this rejuvenation and recharge of the energy. Another side of it, of course, is the solitude aspect, because the Hermit energy is about being on your own. Of course, you're never fully on your own because you have your guides and your ancestors around you, but this is an important aspect that if you immediately started thinking about going on a hike, and you think, okay, I'll bring my partner, or I don't know, my friends or whoever, it's still a possibility, but find an opportunity to have that moment of solitude. I've done it multiple times when I was out in nature with other people, that I would, explain calmly that, I need a minute, can I have a minute on my own, just kind of wander off and have that moment of solitude, even if for a few minutes. You'll see how big of a difference it makes. Okay. We'll use the Tarot Grand Deluxe for the main read. Let's see what we have for Capricorn in the month of October. So for your love and personal life, you have Two of Coins, Nine of Swords, and King of Coins. Could be dealing with another earth sign. So Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. For your career space, you have Page of Wands. I'll speak on all of this in a moment after I lay out the spread. Queen of Swords, this is an air sign. You could be dealing with air sign, so this is Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. Six of Cups, beautiful. And then the advice, we have the Death card. This is Scorpio energy. Page of Coins, and Page of Swords. 3 pages. Which one is missing? Cups, I guess. Interesting. Bottom of the deck, King of Wands. How much have you been in touch with your emotions, Capricorn? Or have you been, grinding at it, or you've been protecting other people's feelings from knowing, what's going on with you, and maybe you having a hard time with something. This is an invitation to reconnect with your feelings and emotions, because they are meaningful. It doesn't mean that they define you. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to project onto someone. And if that was your motivation to hold it in, I mean, this is a good first instinct, but it could be quite dangerous to repress them, right? Or to pretend like everything's okay when it's not. So, or maybe repress some kind of excitement you have about something, maybe silly and childish, and that's why you don't really bring it up and you don't act on it. Whatever it is, the page energy is very innocent, it's like that, childlike energy of wonder when you experience something great for the first time and you're like, oh, wow, yes, wow, I didn't know this kind of things existed in this lifetime, right? So it's important to reconnect to that feeling, and I can see some other cards here that communicate on that. But also with the Hermit message that we started with, I would just say, don't just go with what other people are telling you to do or where they're taking you, right? Even if that used to be part of who you are, right? With the Death card here is definitely a big transformation happening for you in October. And more than anything, it's important to maybe do a little bit of mourning to get closure on the part of yourself that has departed and is no longer with you, or you're not that kind of person anymore, you've changed, right? But then embrace the new energy and not try to stay where you were, not to try to stay in the status quo just because it was normalized, just because it feels familiar, and just because your friends and family know you that way. That's how they identify you. That's how you all know how to spend time with each other, and what kind of hobbies you have and stuff like that. So for your personal space and love life, you have Two of Coins, Nine of Swords, and King of Coins. So there is a desire for stability and abundance, 100%, but there are lots of inner conflicts and doubts, I would say. It's like, what is the right way? You're trying to figure out what is the perfect way to figure this out, right? Kind of like, it could be connected with financial investment, by the way. It could be connected with a certain person, right? For some of you, it's a choice between one person and somebody else. So one person and committing to a certain someone and not committing to anyone at this time. But you know that one of the reasons that you're having those doubts or that anxiety is because you know that it's going to have implications on your life in the physical. Maybe it will mean that you'll have to move. Maybe it will mean you'll have to sell your house that you actually like very much. Maybe it will mean that your lifestyle will need to change, because you know that as it is, it's not going to go with this person. It's very important, of course, to stay true to yourself, but a lot of times we feel like when we commit to somebody else, when we get into a serious relationship with someone, that it almost automatically means we lose that space that we have for ourselves, with ourselves, doing whatever we want, right? It's more about how you communicate about it. Of course, it's also about how does this activity impact the other person. Does it impact them in a negative way? Maybe some change is needed. But if it's not, it's more about agreeing, okay, the time, the format, how can we make this work? And I guarantee you, if this person has true, loving feelings towards you, if they are committed to making it work long term, they will find a way, to compromise, so it's a win-win, right? Even if they somehow aren't on the same page, they will have respect for what you love, what you're passionate about, what matters to you. So it's important not to give up on it, right? But it also doesn't mean necessarily giving up on a relationship just because of that. Or for some of you, this commitment could be actually to moving to a new place, right? Maybe it's a job opportunity, and I know it's not the job section yet, but just a good example. It's a personal space, and if, for example, you have to move for that job, it will impact your personal space. And you may be thinking, like, this is gonna upend my whole life because I don't know anyone in a new place, and I'm not feeling like making a completely new start in life. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? And I don't want to go too deep into it because we're already at 10 minutes, but it's up to you how you organize it. For your career space, you have Page of Wands, Queen of Swords, and Six of Cups. These are all very different energies. For starters, they're different suits, of course. But also, it's like, it's a different sort of maturity. It's almost like this is a little kid, this is a teenager, and this is a grown person, right? And what I'm hearing with this is there is a place for all of this in your work life. So don't get too serious and too complicated, right? Also, don't try to play games. All these cards are about being sincere and putting yourself out there, new ideas. You know, why do they matter to you, right? Why are you doing this in the first place? Remember, why did you start with this project, this business, this job, doing what you're doing in your role, right? And try to connect to it, or connect your idea and that motivation and enthusiasm that you have, and see how that can beautifully synergize into plans, into inspiration for innovation, finding the right team, and actually making it happen. Sometimes the best plan you may have is actually to have no plan, no long-term plan, no strict plan, right? Sometimes the best idea you can have is to play around with it, right? To experiment without thinking like, okay, it's all or nothing, right? And so we need to get it right, like exactly what we're investing our money in. If you have a chance to be a little playful, to experiment, definitely do that. And last but not least, for the advice, we have the Death, we have Page of Coins, and we have Page of Swords. So 2 more pages here. Again, the energy of newness, the energy of learning. That's the top. The energy of figuring out what is it that you want to create. How do you create it with love and compassion? Right? This new energy that you're in will require you to be kind and compassionate to yourself first and foremost. And I know it sounds like a pretty obvious thing to do in life, but not everyone is good at that. Let's put it that way. Again, don't want to trigger anyone, but a lot of times we are ready to sacrifice a lot for the well-being and happiness of our loved ones. But unfortunately, we're not always willing to do the same for ourselves. And the topic of sacrifice is pretty complex in its own way, and I'm personally against sacrifice as much as possible. But what I'm trying to say here is, it's important to be kind to yourself during this time of change, right? And almost like to treat yourself as a child. And I don't mean it in a negative way, I mean it in a positive way, where this child is tender and fragile and needs support and love, and somebody responsible to be around to take care of them, right? You're doing some parenting towards yourself at this time. It's the best way I can put it. All right, let's get some messages for Capricorn from their person of interest. Sorry about the light, it's not the best. I'm still trying to figure out what it's best with the extra ring light or not, and I'm not 100% convinced, so doing some videos one way and some videos the other way. We'll find out. Okay, what does Capricorn need to know from their person? Ace of Wands, clarified by the Magician, and the Wheel of Fortune. Wow, I love this card so much. Your person feels like the two of you can conquer the world, can overcome anything, can be, that you're the power couple at the very least. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it's like, when they say like anything is possible with you by my side, it's that kind of message that they're sending to you. And yes, there's a lot of physical attraction at this point, and that's part of that message, right? Like, sexual energy is very closely connected with creative energy, and sometimes, like, instinctively, it's a little hard to tell which one it is. But it definitely unlocks a whole lot of potential in this person, or their vision at least, of what's possible for themselves and for the two of you. How much they can do and they get to do in life, right? So this is a major arcana, so the person is definitely going through a transformation of their own, and you're definitely a muse, you're an inspiration, and if anything, I don't want to say the thought of you and your life together is getting them out of bed, because it sounds a little dramatic, but something along those lines, you know? It's a big motivator, so show them some kindness and compassion as well, as much as you can. And you know, they may be coming up with different ways to experiment in their own life, and that might seem a little insecure to you, but it's important to let them run with it, at least for a while they're figuring this out, and you know, they're getting into this concept of allowing themselves to play, without too much responsibility, without getting too serious about it. Like, if it's not gonna make me money, it's not worth my time. No, almost the opposite at this point in time. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. I hope this was helpful for you, Capricorn. If so, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time.